So Sheikh Uthman bin Farooq has done it again. The man who doesn't know what is the difference between blood and ketchup. The man who cannot even figure out if something is footnote or part of the text. The man who was on the mission to go and steal another Muslim man's wife. The man who is on the mission to correct centuries of Islamic scholarship. Not by bringing new evidence, but simply relabeling old claims as most authentic, even when the books he is quoting don't say that. And this time, his victim is Ibn Kathir, the one and only Sheikh Uthman ibn Farooq, who has mastered in hadith studies, claims that Muhammad's wife Khadijah was 25 years old when they married. And that is the most authentic view according to Ibn Kathir. Sound pretty clear, right? Well, until you actually read what Ibn Kathir says. Let's take a look at how Sheikh Uthman, let's say, gets creative with his sources. When we look at his background, we remember in the past, he couldn't see things well, he couldn't understand things well, he was intentionally misrepresenting things. Therefore, it is important that we look at the sources which he gets creative about as he makes such a claims.
And the day that she was married, she was 28 years of age. Al-Bayhaqi, from the early great scholars of Islam, in his amazing work called Dalal al-Nabuwa, he says, Qala Abu Abdullah al-Hakim. This is reported by Abu Abdullah, Imam al-Hakim, that he says, I myself read in the handwriting of Abu Bakr ibn Abi Khaythama that he said that I was informed myself by Mus'ab ibn Abdullah al-Zubayri, the great scholar, the thiqa reporter, early scholar of Islam, who said that Khadijah radiallahu anha reached 50 years of age, and that is the most authentic narration when she died. Meaning that it's been reported that she was 65, and it's been reported that she was 50 sana, 50 years, وَهُوَ أَصَحْ. What does that mean? That from the early Taba Tabi'un, they said that she died at 50. Now, if she married the Prophet ﷺ when he was 25, and wahi began when he was 40, so that means that between the time where the Prophet ﷺ married her and wahi beginning was 15 years, right? 25, 30, 40 years of age. Before the hijrah was made, 10 years between that, that would mean that she was married 25 years to the Prophet ﷺ before she passed away. And that would mean that if she died at 50, she was 25 years of age when she married the Prophet ﷺ. And this is an authentic chain. This is not a matruk chain or so on. Now, is this something that we are revising history from? Not at all. In fact, Al-Bayhaqi and Al-Hakim and Ibn Asakir, he has also mentioned from Abi Bakr ibn Uthman ibn Salih ibn Hunayf and so on. And I want to point this out. Ibn Kathir, the great scholar of tafsir, the great scholar of history, in his amazing work called Bidayah and Nihayah, he discusses all of these chains, including Waqidis and his weakness. And after discussing it, what does he say? Wal asah, what is the most authentic on the subject? إنها كانت في 25 سنة, that she was 25 years old when she married the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Wow, that's convincing. The only problem is Ibn Kathir never said that. What Sheikh Uthman actually did was confuse a quotation from early sources with a statement made by Ibn Kathir himself. So there is a difference between saying it was narrated that Khadijah was 25 and Ibn Kathir believed Khadijah was 25. Let me break it down. In Al-Bidayah, Nihayah, Ibn Kathir lists multiple sources. Some said that Khadijah was 40 when she married the Prophet. Others said 28 and some said 25. Then when he talks about her age of death, he says it was said that she died at age 65 and it was said that she died at age 50, and that is the most authentic. Okay? So the place Ibn Kathir uses the phrase the most authentic is clearly used on the place where he's talking about the age of death for Khadijah, not the marriage. But Sheikh Uthman, who has master in hadith studies, reads and decides that, oh, she died at age 50, then that must mean she was married at age 25. That's not hadith. That is simply math. And last time I checked, Ibn Kathir wasn't quoting a calculator. He's not talking about or teaching maths. He was simply quoting narrations. And now here where it gets worse. Sheikh Uthman says like this.
Ibn Kathir, the great scholar of tafsir, the great scholar of history, in his amazing work called Bidayah and Nihayah, he discusses all of these chains, including Waqidi's and his weakness. And after discussing it, what does he say? Wal asah, what is the most authentic on the subject? إنها كانت في 25 سنة. That she was 25 years old when she married the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Nope, nope, and nope. That's not true. What Ibn Kathir does is quote early scholars like Al-Zubari, Ibn Abi Khatama, or Musad ibn Abdullah without endorsing their views. Quoting someone is not same with agreeing with them. Like, think about it. It is like me reading someone says pineapple belongs to pizza, and then someone running around and saying, oh, Hatun believes pineapple is the most authentic topping for pizza. I don't. Yes, early scholars like Al-Bahai, quoting Al-Hakim, quoting Ibn Abi Khaitama, quoting Musad al-Zubaira, said Khadijah died at age 50. That is the most authentic view. But even then, that's a quotation. It is not the consensus. And again, this is about age of her death, not the age that she got married to Muhammad. I am struggling to understand why Sheikh Uthman, who has got master in hadith studies, simply, and he's very much respected, yeah, so much respected, simply wants Khadijah to be 25, therefore he intentionally misrepresents Islamic sources. Could it be the idea that Muhammad marrying with an old woman doesn't sit well with his view of what is wife? Ideal wife is young and pretty. Or could it be that in a world where we've got Muslims like Daniel Hakikochi says, women lose value as they get older. A 40-year-old wife just doesn't sound ideal. Maybe or maybe not. But here what we know so far. You cannot change historical sources just because you don't like what they say. If Islamic tradition has lived for 1400 years with the belief that Khadijah was 40 when she married to Muhammad, and if the most authentic view is now whatever Sheikh Uthman likes the best, Muslims are not doing history anymore. What are they doing is simply damage control. Why? Well, I strongly believe because you want to go after young women. But I don't know. And clearly this is not about finding the truth. It is about rewriting the image of Muhammad to fit in their agenda. So next time someone like Sheikh Uthman says, according to Ibn Kathir, this is the most authentic view, just do yourself a favor. Read the book.